almost every receptacle is fine, but the second you try to drink water out of a mug, it feels wrong. Like a cold drink out of a mug feels so wrong. It feels
gross. You're right.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's
like I'm uncomfortable thinking about it.
It's an abomination in the eyes of the Lord.
Absolutely, and you're going straight to hell.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's no salvation for you. Absolutely
no, like you know, in the 10 Commandments, it was like, "Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not drink cold beverages out of a mug."
Yeah, for sure.
So. There you go.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Honestly, yeah, and I'm trying to think of like other things I would typically drink out of a mug. And the only thing that kind of seems okay to do is like maybe cold chocolate milk. But that's a maybe.
Are you over here drinking cold chocolate milk?
Well, how else do you drink chocolate milk?
Oh, chocolate milk. I was thinking hot chocolate. Yeah.
Okay.
I could see drinking, cold chocolate milk out of a mug a little more acceptable. Or like if you have milk for your cookies.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's chill.
That's chill. But water.
No.
It's gotta have like a certain level of consistency.
Yes.
And if it's too watery, which water is the most watery thing out there, so I've been told.
On the Richter scale of watery things.
It can't. Gotta be there's a cutoff somewhere.
Because like that milk has like a little bit of a thicker consistency versus like, although if you take it too far, like smoothie, you're not gonna drink a smoothie, but that's the chill factor as well.
And there's also the chill factor.
Like,
yeah.
So you gotta kind of you have to.
There's
consider.
a ratio for sure.
Yeah. Thickness to chillness.
Yeah. These are the real philosophical questions that I enjoy pondering personally.
The things that we will bring to you, we will deliver on Remarks Podcast.
Oh yeah.
Which, my name is Phoebe.
And I'm Taylor.
And like I just said, this is Remarks Podcast.
The one and the only podcast.
Yes, also true.
Yeah.
It is the only one.
Yeah, you can't listen to anything else, actually.
No.
Like, what are you going to go watch TV? What are you going to do? Read
Turn
a book?
It off.
Gross.
Hell no.
Yeah, no.
Get that shit out of here. You open up that podcast app, there's one.
Yeah.
And it's Remarks. You try to look up My Favorite Murder, nothing comes up because that doesn't exist.
Do you just make that up off the top of your head?
I did.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. It's
not a real podcast.
It's not real. Yeah.
No other. I mean, we are the podcast.
We are the podcast.
The word podcast barely exists because we're the only one. So
yeah, and I'm pretty sure you came up with that word. Like
I did.
A year ago.
So I was fishing one day, and then my Keurig, on my back cast, my Keurig pod got stuck onto my hook.
Whoa.
Flew out into the water, and I was having a conversation with Taylor at the same time about like politics, and I was like, oh my god, like my pod just casted. And then I was like, oh my god, wait, this conversation.
Guys.
What if we created something called a podcast?
Yeah.
And so there you go.
That's origin stories.
And it's true, and it's factually true.
Insanely factually true, like unhingedly true.
Unhingedly.
Actually. Yeah, that's a word. Anyway, do you want to make the special announcement now, or are you going to edge the audience?
Let's do it. Let's give them what they're wanting, because I feel we teased it a little.
And we've teased it like for a while too, being like, you're gonna have some merch someday.
Well, guess what, bitches? Today is the fucking day. Well, not today, but 2 days from now is the fucking day. Taylor and I, along with our dearest friend Chris, helped us create art to make fucking stickers.
Woo.
And they look so fucking crispy delicious. I literally cannot wait. I'm going to put it on my car and my water bottle immediately.
Oh, for sure.
I'm so fucking excited. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're amazing. And you all are going to want one.
You're going to want one. And Phoebe, say that I was just a oblivious bystander.
Sure.
Who happened to listen to Remarks at this very moment and was wondering how I could obtain said sticker.
Sure. So, because we don't want to deal with, all of that crazy websites charging you extra things, and it's definitely not because we didn't want to figure out how to set up a website to sell you things. You can hit us up on our Instagram at Remarks Podcast. Send us a cute little DM. Even comment on one of our posts. I don't fucking care. Let us know you want a sticker, and we will get it to you. And for a certain amount of money that I am saying is I'm looking at Taylor with eyeballs.
I'm not I think we had decided $1.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds fair to me.
Yeah. I'm pretty positive it was $1. So.
But we will nail it down and let you know. But I feel like $1 sounds good to me. So anyway, please hit us up on the Instagram. The stickers are fucking beautiful. I'm gonna post some posts. I'll post like an official post on the actual like page, and then I'll like periodically put story posts to remind you all post-ussies of these beautiful stick-ussies that you can put on your pussy if you want.
You
put
could.
It wherever you want to put it.
That would be interesting. Yeah. But
send us a pic. Well, not of that.
Yeah, don't do that. But send us a picture of where you do put your stickers, as long as they're not on your genitals.
Yeah. Nowhere wildly inappropriate. Although, if you wanted to put 2 over your nipples like pasties, for sure send us that picture.
That would be pretty. That would be funny,
cool. Yeah. Post it in your Instagram story. Tag us. We will repost you.
Yeah.
And give you a virtual little kiss.
A little smooch on the forehead.
Absolutely.
Also, I know that we have, it's our first time making merch, first batch, so we have 100 stickers coming.
Yes.
So, we'll definitely make more if the demand is there. So, if
for sure.
You miss out on this one for some reason, if they sell like hotcakes, don't worry.
Yeah. And, someday, eventually, we will have shirts and shit. That shit's just fucking expensive, so.
We just gotta figure all that jazz out.
Yeah. But, stickers. Stickies. Fucking get you some sticks, babe.
Yep.
All right.
Good. Anyway.
Hell yeah.
You wanna take it away? Oh, wait. Also, before we start.
Yeah. It's back.
Feels
back, good.
Baby.
Feels good. I'll start us off. So, since we were in a goofy, silly World War II mood, we just wanted to talk about some of like the media that has come out of and inspired by World War II.
Yeah, this is an Art of the Revolution episode, right?
Oh my god.
I believe.
Yes, it is.
Oh, well, then you heard the nice
you did.
depressing intro. So.
Really depressed, which honestly fits with my story because it's pretty depressing, everyone. So get ready.
Hey, this is going to be good.
Yeah. So I took my story in a direction of media that was inspired by World War II, and it's maybe not necessarily like completely about World War II, like outright, but you can tell by watching that it has that inspiration.
Those roots, baby.
So Taylor, what are some of your favorite Studio Ghibli movies?
Oof. Well, so I mean, I like all of them for sure.
I mean, who doesn't?
But Kiki's Delivery Service, I always feel like, has a very special place among them. It's probably one of my favorites. I just think the art in it is so good. I love
it. That's my all-time favorite for sure.
Really good. Obviously, Spirited Away is like a classic for sure.
Yeah, that's a great one.
But I always get the name wrong. Is it Porco Rosso?
Oh, Porco Rosso.
Rosso, yeah. That one's really good too. I remember watching that with my mom.
Yeah, really that one's crazy.
Yeah, that one's kind of a weird, but yeah. No, and that one actually I feel like was pretty World War II-y as well.
Very much, yeah. So I am talking about Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli. So like we were kind of just saying, when you think of the films created by Hayao Miyazaki with Studio Ghibli, we think of these calming, beautifully animated landscapes, fantastical creatures, delightful adventures, and captivating scores. However, as apparent in quite a few of the films, more overt in some than others, there is a dark undercurrent within these beautiful movies. So to tell you about why that happens, I will tell you about Hayao Miyazaki and his life.
The man...
The myth.
Himself. The myth, the legend, the
fucking dude.
Cool guy.
The cool
guy. Sick homie.
Yeah. Our friend of the pod, Hayao Miyazaki.
Friend of the pod, Hayao Miyazaki, yeah.
Hayao, if you're listening, hit us up.
Hit us up. Come on for an episode. I don't know what we'll talk about.
My mind.
That'd be crazy, actually.
Which he is still alive.
Yeah. think I did know that.
I was a little bit worried when I was writing this article, and I was like, wait, did he die? And I am not sure, but he is alive, so good good stuff. So Hayao Miyazaki had a rough time in his early life. He was born January 5th, 1941 in Tokyo. He began his life at the end of World War II, living through the conclusion of the war and growing up in the aftermath. His childhood memories include many Japanese cities destroyed and left desolated by bombings. When the bombings in Tokyo began, Miyazaki's family was forced to evacuate and relocate to Utsunomiya. The Tokyo bombings began in April of 1942 with an air raid led by the United States over several Japanese cities. This first attack was a small beginning to what would turn into the most devastating bombing of the entire war. These strategized bombings on Tokyo continued over the next few years and built up to Operation Meeting House on March 10th, 1945. The United States dropped 1,665 tons of bombs onto Tokyo, destroying... Jeez. Yeah, it's fucking insane. Yeah. This destroyed over 10,000 acres of the city, killed over 100,000 people, and left much of the rest of the population homeless. Wow. This is considered the deadliest air raid of World War II, causing more destruction than the bombing of Hiroshima.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah, that was an atomic bomb.
That was an atomic bomb. Yeah. Well, and that's wild too because they just dropped it on Tokyo. Like it was just civilians.
Yeah. They were targeting civilian centers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like specifically, it's like they were trying to go for like the city center, so they wanted to get like the fucking Capitol building or whatever and all that stuff. But. Yeah, that's also where all of the civilians lived, so they murdered a bunch of fucking people. Yeah.
Good stuff.
And it's not like it was even, like, military bases and stuff. I mean, obviously, in Tokyo, there was, like, military things going on, but it's not like they were specifically targeting these military bases. They just flew over top and just dumped a shit ton of bombs.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the idea, because I feel like a lot of people, and especially back in World War II, like, precision bombing didn't exist.
Exactly.
And also doesn't exist now. Yeah. Like, there's no... You're dropping a bomb.
Don't let them fool you.
Oh, yeah, no. I've heard multiple people talk about, like, you can only be so precise when you're literally dropping a bomb.
Yeah, like, it's a bomb. Like, even these, like, drone things we have now are not...
You're never gonna, like, erase, civilian and innocent casualties and that shit, so...
And even, like, if the actual explosion takes place on, like, I don't know, specifically military base or something, like, there's still all that fallout and there's still all of the, like, debris and all of that stuff surrounding that, like, is gonna destroy other things.
Yeah.
So even above that, this event is said to be the most destructive bombing raid in human history.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Which I don't think it's, like, above... It's specifically, like, bombing raid.
Okay.
But anyway, but still, I mean, it's fucking catastrophic. So young Miyazaki is ripped from his hometown and replaced in the city of Utsunomiya. But just about a year later, his family is forced to evacuate due to bombings once again. So on July 12th, 1945, over 100 U.S. aircrafts carrying over 802 tons of bombs flew over Utsunomiya and dropped the bombs onto the town center, the main target being the elementary school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good.
Which this was in the middle of the night, so the school was unoccupied, but still, like, what kind of psychopath do you have to be to bomb a children's school?
Maybe war is not tight.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, maybe it's stupid.
War is stupid.
Yeah.
to put it eloquently.
Yeah.
So this bombing destroyed the metropolitan center of the town and several villages surrounding the city. 608 people were killed. 1,000 sorry. I typed my number wrong. 1,150 were injured, and most of the city was completely destroyed, again, leaving much of the population homeless. And once again, Miyazaki's family had to uproot the life that they had built to flee to safety. Another big inspiration for Miyazaki's films was that his father and his uncle owned a company called Miyazaki Airplane. This company made his family pretty affluent. They were developing rudders for fighter planes. Well, it started out just as an airplane parts company, but then when World War II happened, they started creating rudders for fighter planes in World War II. And this juxtaposition in Miyazaki's life, the bombings and the strife of World War II, as well as his father being an active participant in creating materials that helped the war to continue, formed who Miyazaki is. Common themes in Ghibli movies express his feelings towards war, pacifism, environmentalism, and his particular disdain for the overly powerful weapons that were used in World War II. Miyazaki was for sure a comrade.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this guy fucking rocks so bad. So good. His thoughts on large industry and companies were that, quote, a company is common property of the people that work there.
Yeah.
Taken straight out of the fucking Communist Manifesto.
I was going to say, that's communism if I've ever heard it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I think it's interesting because there are, like, I feel like in Studio Ghibli movies, and you might bring this up later, I suppose, but there's always, like, such vibrant colors, except I feel like when it does come to, like, factories and machinery, like, they're always very, like, dark and muted colors. So I think, yeah, you can definitely just, like, see it in his movies that, like, there's a juxtaposition there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like with his beautiful like nature landscapes that he creates, and then like you said, alongside like industry or anything that is like armies or things like that, like those two things clash. And it was something that even like aside from warfare, that was something that he was seeing happening in Japan with like with industry really ramping up, was like nature getting destroyed in the way for these huge businesses and these huge industrial things. So that's definitely like a huge thing that you'll see in these movies too, and that's kind of the main theme of Princess Mononoke.
Yeah,
is
pretty much
like companies coming in to destroy nature to create shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Miyazaki clearly saw corporate greed and heavily criticized it in his films. Many Ghibli films feature an antagonist who is seeking ultimate power or endless riches. The effect that increased industry and the war had on the environment is another common theme in his movies, like I was just saying, with scenes of destroyed towns, polluted rivers, and villains destroying nature for their own prosperity. And perhaps the most obvious parallel to World War II is the massively destructive nuclear-like weapons that the antagonists are desperately trying to harness the power of, and when they do, it leads to devastation of the entire land, usually destroying something sacred or magical. Miyazaki is a known pacifist and has criticized the continued wars throughout the world. This is so fucking sick. He even refused to attend the Oscars in 2003 when he won for Spirited Away in protest of the American invasion of Iraq.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's heavy. That's fucking sick, though.
Yeah. He, and he openly spoke about, like, how negatively he felt about pretty much any kind of warfare, but specifically about the way that America interacted with Iraq.
Well, and that makes sense. I mean, there was a lot of wars, obviously, in his time, but, like, that one was pretty blatantly just, we want oil.
Exactly. Yeah, and, like, especially growing up right at the tail end of World War II, seeing, like, everything, seeing the conclusion of it, basically, and what it had done to the world around him, it's like, stop. You can fucking stop.
Fucking stop,
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's like, I mean, that's a lot of how I feel. You know, I feel like people get so caught up in like the geopolitics of things too. Like, you don't like ever stop to think like, oh, also war is just bad because it's bad. Like,
exactly.
You know, like it's not necessarily about like, oh, which side is good and which side is evil or whatever. It's like, oh, people are dying and like the earth is dying.
Yeah, like it's, which we could even, I mean, take all of like the politics out of it, because frankly at this point it doesn't fucking matter. Like, look at what it's doing to the things around us. Like, look at the people that it's killing and the cities it's destroying, and like, let's just take that and stop there. Stop. Like,
yeah, it's like, oof, I don't know. Yeah, it's,
the devastation isn't like, which country is going to have power now. The devastation is what we've done to the people and the land around us.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we're seeing like the effects, obviously, of industry and like even in war and everything, because our planet's not gonna be inhabitable pretty soon.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't remember the exact statistic, but I'm sure you've seen it, that it's like beyond any of what, like, even some corporations, like the American military is responsible for like 95% of the fucking pollution of our country or whatever it is.
It's insane, yeah.
Like.
It's
because if you think about it, I mean, it's these massive war machines like flying across the world, so much fuel, like just, I mean, yeah, it's
true. Well, yeah, and then you think of all the like factories that produce all that stuff, and again, I mean, it's always fucking rich assholes putting profits over, because you know, when America's producing military stuff, we're making money, and you know, our economy is good, and it's like, yeah, but we're everything's kind of dying.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Could we maybe
You're
stop
killing all of us and the land that we need to live on? So please,
maybe don't. How
Perhaps
about that? You ever think?
Do not.
You ever consider that?
You ever think about that one? So the Studio Ghibli film that I have watched most recently is Castle in the Sky. Have you seen that one?
I feel like it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I do not remember much of it.
Yeah. And while I was watching this, the parallels to World War II were glaringly obvious to me. So I'll kind of break down the plot for you so that I don't do a 3-hour dissertation on the pod.
Perfect.
So it's about a young girl named Shida. She is kidnapped by a very white and American-looking group of agents in suits and shit.
Nice.
Okay. And they are after a magical crystal necklace that she has, that has great power. And Shita is one of the only people that can kind of activate this necklace to make it give off the power that it has.
Yeah.
Basically. Several different groups are after this necklace. There's a group of ragtag pirates who are the comedic relief for sure. These agents that have her, and the army. Shida escapes the airship where the agents are keeping her, and she teams up with a young boy named Patsu. They plan to travel to the Castle in the Sky, which is later revealed to be Shida's birthplace. It's on a floating island called Laputa, the Castle in the Sky. I clicked off of my notes. Come back. There it is. And there's a large and powerful weapon on Laputa that can be activated with Shida's crystals.
Whoa.
The three groups race to Laputa, and eventually Muska, who is the agent who had Shida kidnapped in the beginning of the movie, uses the crystal necklace to activate the weapon on Laputa. And in a devastating explosion, this weapon nearly destroys the entire island and much of the land below, including destroying Muska's own airship and his own team.
Yeah, so he fucked himself over too.
Yes.
Piece of shit.
I know. Douche. This weapon and the race to harness its power is a clear allusion to the nuclear arms race and the island destroying weapon, a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, for sure.
And even the way, like, how it looks in the movie is reminiscent of a nuclear bomb.
Big old bomb.
Big old bomb.
Big large bomb.
There are other ties to World War II, such as the small, struggling mining town that Patsu lives in. It's very similar to how things were going in Japan at the time with their mining towns as well. And just as, like, any kind of smaller town at the time of World War II who was giving resources to the war, struggling to, like, make their own lives work. The army in their pursuit of an enormously powerful weapon and the destruction they cause along the way to attain it. And I would even say that the way that Shida is held, she's held in this airship at the beginning of the movie, and then she's kidnapped again. I would say is perhaps reminiscent of a prisoner of war, possibly.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
And you know what else is a floating castle in the sky with a weapon of mass destruction that you need a magical crystal to activate and then blow up your own army and then also blow up an entire magical island and kidnap a little girl?
What?
Hopefully not the ad that supports this podcast.
Woo! Beautiful.
Ads.
we're back. We're just talking about how pineapple on barbecue pizza
Yes.
is a different, like it's next level. It's built different. It's goated with the sauce, as some might say.
Absolutely. Yeah, like pineapple on like ham and cheese pizza, no.
It's the
You're
tomato
wrong.
sauce and the pineapple doesn't complement each other
exactly.
in the slightest.
Because the barbecue sauce has a little bit of like a sweetness to it.
And a tang.
That marries with the pineapple.
It's like a luau in your mouth. It's
Absolutely.
really good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So good.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of cheese, a little bit of cilantro.
Cilantro is good on there.
Some vegan chicken.
Vegan chicken also fucks. I personally like jalapenos. Not everybody likes the spice. But
I get it.
personally-
I'm not a spice person, but I understand how that would be delicious.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So try it at home if you haven't.
Some red onions on there.
Yeah.
Grilled red
yeah.
onions.
I'm not really an onion fan, but
Oh, you're not.
I respect
That's
it.
true.
I respect I respect the onion game.
I respect your jalapeno game. You respect my onion game. It's a shame. I mean, I understand why you don't, but fuck, onions are so good. I eat just raw onion.
That's
Sometimes.
insane. Actually.
Not like I'm not gonna like bite into an onion,
Yeah.
whole style, but like, but I do like if I'm chopping an onion, I will like snack
Interesting.
on some little raw onion pieces.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't even dream of that. So, I respect the onion.
You would
hustle.
nightmare about that.
I would nightmare about that. I respect the onion hustle, but I can't say that I am one of the onioners.
That's fair. An onioneer, if you will.
An onioneer, yeah.
Yeah. We could make that a tier of our Patreons.
The onioneers.
The onioneers.
We'll send you raw onions every month.
Yeah. Just in like loose in an envelope.
True.
You're like, what the fuck is this?
Just do whatever you want with it.
Just, it's your raw onion.
Mm-hmm.
Make of that what
That's
you will.
probably been in a mail truck for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So,
So maybe don't eat it, but I can't tell you what to do legally.
I also legally cannot tell you what to do.
It's up to you. Side note, one time, my sister used to have a pet turtle years and years and years ago.
Oh.
And then we were getting rid of him on KSL
Yeah.
because she was a child and turtles are a lot,
Yeah.
turns out. And my mom on the listing, by the way, for our out of state listeners, it's a Utah thing only, right?
I think so. It's like Utah and Idaho, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right. Anyway, KSL is like a classified like listing place.
Yeah, it's kind of like Craigslist, if you've heard of that.
But
like
like
you can sell things.
Yeah, but there's definitely no like sexual things on KSL.
Yeah, no, it's less like that. But
Yeah, it's
you
like
you just sell your
cars
stuff.
and
Yeah.
random shit. Anyway, or turtles even. And in the listing, she put like as a cheeky joke, like not to be used for turtle soup, and KSL like told her that she couldn't put that in because they're like, once they purchase the turtle, they legally can do whatever they want with it. You're not allowed to tell them what they can and can't do with the turtle.
That's awful though, because then it's like, oh, I guess this person could be making a
You
turtle
could be making
into
turtle soup.
That's
Apollo.
awful. Yeah,
Apollo.
Our boy.
I know.
I hope he lived a long and prosperous life.
I hope so
after
too.
that.
I hope like somebody who like really fucking loved turtles got him.
Yeah, turtles are sick.
Turtles are cool.
Yeah,
They're very cool. Water turtles are so neat.
I think all turtles are, because aren't tortoises the ones that don't go in water?
Oh, you might be right.
And I think a turtle is for the water ones, is the water term.
I think you are correct.
Let me check. I'm gonna double check that. But...
All right. Should I get talking while you're
sure.
Googling about turtles?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll hop back into it, you guys. So, one of the other Ghibli movies that definitely has some World War II influences is Howl's Moving Castle. Have you seen that one?
I have.
Great
Justin and I
one.
recently watched that.
I need to watch that again. I haven't seen it in a long time. The fucking score for that movie, 10 out of 10. It's so good. So in Howl's Moving Castle, there are two kingdoms engaged in a violent war that really has no true reasoning behind it. One of the sides even says, like, she's just kind of in war because there's war.
There's war to be had.
Yeah. Did you find out about the turtles?
Yeah, I did. Tortoises do spend the majority of their life on land, and turtles do, in fact, are adapted to live in the water.
All right.
So
I
turtles
stand
can
corrected.
also live on land,
Right.
but can simultaneously be in the water.
Is tortoise the desert one then? Or is there desert turtles as well?
I don't know. I assume the desert probably doesn't have that much water.
Yeah. So maybe there is no turtles in the desert, and
I would
I'm
assume
mistaken.
maybe less turtles in the desert. But I don't know. I'll have to do a deep dive into it for you.
We'll do a turtle episode next week. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, I mean...
Where are the turtles?
But anyway, yes. Howl's Moving Castle.
Yes.
Amazing.
So I was saying there are two kingdoms engaged in a violent war that really has no true reasoning behind it. The one lady basically says she's in war just because there's war. And although the inspiration for Howl's Moving Castle was actually Miyazaki's disdain for the American invasion of Iraq, that's basically why he made the movie. There are still many ideas taken from what Miyazaki witnessed in World War II. Howl, one of the main characters, is depressed by the ongoing war and constant violence, and he is seeking a way to end it. The movie shows scenes of beautiful nature being overtaken by weaponry. It's a tough word. And industry. The most obvious allusion to World War II in the movie is the bombings on the two kingdoms, perpetuated on both sides. The large aircrafts that carry the bombs over the cities eerily represent the aircrafts used by the U.S. in World War II, and the images of them releasing their bombs is a perfect representation of the bombings that occurred on Tokyo in the 40s. And the kind of both sides thing, definitely does not have to do with America invading Iraq, but definitely has to do with, like, what was going on during World War II, where it was just like, this isn't even about anything anymore. It's just everybody's killing everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, and I can imagine, like, too, if you're a child, like, you're not going to understand, again, the geopolitics of what is happening. Like,
exactly.
You're just like, oh, bombs are going off everywhere, and people
where
are trying
I
to
live.
kill each other. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. Dialogue from Howl's Moving Castle shows Miyazaki's contempt for both the West and the East's participation in World War II. Sophie says, "A battleship. Howl, still looking for more cities to burn." Sophie, "Is it the enemy's or one of ours?" Howl, "What difference does it make? Those stupid murderers. We can't just let them fly off with all those bombs."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's as clear as it gets there, yeah. Fuck everyone.
Fuck everyone. Fuck war. Fuck militaries.
True.
The depictions of these burning cities are terrifying and are clearly taken from Miyazaki's childhood experience with the bombings of his own cities. These firebombing scenes can also be linked to the devastating bombing of Dresden, Germany, the event that is the central plot point of Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse 5.
Yeah.
Which I'm reading right now.
I have not read that.
Is
it good?
Yeah. It's all right.
It's all right.
It's Slaughterhouse 5 is all right. It's interesting. I don't know. Give it a read, I guess. Anyway, not to just shit on Kurt Vonnegut. But yeah, and to lightly talk about Dresden, Dresden was, again, like kind of a civilian area where they just dropped a bunch of bombs because they were like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It was pretty senseless. So, yeah. And as I was mentioning before, in Princess Mononoke, one of the main focuses of the film is the destruction of nature by war machines and the development of these machines, how humans have pushed into nature to make more room for destruction. Princess Mononoke also shows a struggling mining town trying to rebuild and survive. This town, known as Irontown, seems to be inspired by Miyazaki's experience with living in cities trying to rebuild after being destroyed by bombings. And to finish us all off here, the most devastating Ghibli film, in my opinion, is Grave of the Fireflies. Have you seen that one?
No, but you've told me about it. It's like really depressing, right?
Yeah, literally every single second of this movie is some of the most depressing shit you've ever fucking seen.
You just watch it and you're like, well, fuck, man.
Yeah. I made the mistake of I watched Parasite, and then I watched Portrait of a Lady on Fire, all on the same day, one time in quarantine, and I was so sad.
Oh yeah, that's like, oof.
Triple feature.
Yeah, you're getting like the sadness on literally all ends of the sad spectrum. You're getting like the sad lesbian sadness. You're getting the class war sadness.
Yep.
And the apparently war sadness.
War. Sadness. Yeah. It's sad. It's really good, but it is so heartbreaking. Will rip you to shreds.
There's this joke. This is a little bit of a tangent, but
no, I love it.
I love it. There's me and a good friend of mine who supports the podcast, James.
Hey, shout out.
I think we went and saw Portrait of a Lady on Fire in theaters, and I was like, oh, so it's just Brokeback Mountain but with lesbians. He was so mad. He was so mad. He'd get mad at me for like, it went on for months. So he was like, because I'd be like, oh yeah, it's just Brokeback Mountain but with lesbians, and like,
I forgot about that whole thing.
He was like, it's not that, and I'm like, it's kind of that. It's like Victorian era Brokeback Mountain with lesbians.
It's very similar plot points. I can't argue with you there.
The plot is very similar.
Is gay people that can't be together, who like have a time where they're alone to be together, and then they don't get to be together.
And then they don't get to.
Yeah.
And kind of in Brokeback Mountain, but not really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Because, like, doesn't the one guy live?
Yeah.
I don't know the character's name, but he, like, lives on the farm.
Yeah, that's
with him.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, so it's, I guess, slightly
It's pretty, but
less.
It's still pretty, like...
It's very upsetting.
The vibes are very similar.
Definitely. Oh, my God. Spoiler alert, but the ending of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, where in the portrait she, like, has that book on the page. I was bawling.
Yeah, and then she's at the fucking opera, and it's the song.
Yes,
it's the same song,
yes.
And you're like, oh my God.
Also, I want whatever armpit drug they had when they fucked.
Oh yeah,
that they got from like the fire dancing circle.
Yeah,
it's just armpit poppers. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean,
or armpit Molly maybe.
Yeah, no, I also would like to try that drug in Minecraft, allegedly. Yes, I have never consumed illicit substances. No, definitely not.
Although I feel like everybody should start doing just a count of how many times we talk about poppers on the podcast now, because it's reaching about the same level as the amount of times we talk about cum on the podcast. So.
Popper count.
Popper count. Ding. So anyway, this really sad fucking movie. So this film is not created by Hayao Miyazaki. It is instead written and directed by the Studio Ghibli co-founder Isao Takahata. Where Miyazaki took inspiration from and alluded to World War II, Takahata puts it out clearly with no holds barred. Warning, do not watch this movie if you like being happy at all.
If you enjoy having joy, and like
smiling,
laughing, maybe don't
watch this. And also, spoiler alert for this entire movie, because I'm about to give you the whole ass plot.
Woo.
So, Grave of the Fireflies follows the lives of two siblings, Saita, the older brother, and Setsuko, his very young sister. They live in Kobe, Japan, and struggle to survive during the last few months of World War II. Their home is bombed, and their mother is severely burned. The two children are displaced due to this bombing and move in with a family member they barely know. Meanwhile, their mother is dying in the hospital from her burn wounds. And in an absolutely horrifying fucking scene in this movie... horrifying. It's like on the level of like the Colloidal Silver Woman. Like I was like shook to my core. They show the mother wrapped in bandages, bleeding out and decaying in her last moments. And if I'm remembering correctly, there's like literally like flies that come out of her. It's horrible.
Yeah, that's
horrible. But it's fucking real.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the
facts.
shit. That's the shit that's going on at home while like you're off flying in the sky bombing people.
Yeah.
Like people's moms are fucking dying of 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I don't know why I had to just hammer that one.
It sounds awful.
So all Saita and Setsuko have left of their mother and their life before the war destroyed it all is her silk kimono and a tin of candies. The family member that Saita and Setsuko are placed with convinces Saita to sell the kimono in exchange for food. Eventually, the relationship between the guardian and the siblings becomes emotionally and verbally abusive when the guardian gets tired of these kids having trauma, basically.
Yeah.
And she's like, Saita, you need to be out there, like, working to get shit. And he's like, I'm 12. Or however old he is.
I'm a child.
I'm a literal child. And also my sister's, like, 6. And, yeah.
And we just watched our mom die.
Yeah, like... So in an attempt to protect Setsuko, Saita flees from the home and builds them a new home in the shelter of an abandoned bomb shelter. At night, the siblings catch fireflies and put them in a jar to light the shelter. However, the following morning, Setsuko is beside herself when the fireflies have suffocated and died. The title of the movie is born when Setsuko buries the fireflies in a small grave. Overtaken by the accidental death of these bugs, Setsuko begins processing her own mother's death and is hysterical, asking why did the fireflies have to die and why did her mother have to die. You cry a lot.
Yeah. Lots of tears.
Sad. Real
kind
sad.
of not happy.
Not cash money. So Saita continually steals from farmers around him as the war rages on, desperately trying to feed his sister and sometimes himself, going out when air raids are happening, taking advantage of the chaos and stealing food from these farmers and shops around him, which is just real nice that, like, this poor kid has to be like, cool, they're bombing, now is the time for me to steal food.
Wow.
Fuck. So all the while, Setsuko grows sicker and sicker, slowly dying of malnutrition. Cut off from the outside world, save for when he enters the town to steal food, Saita and Setsuko are completely unaware of what is happening with the war. As a final act of survival, Saita withdraws the last amount of money from his mother's bank account in order to try to obtain food with some nutritional value for Setsuko, who has been subsisting mostly off of small scraps of food and candies from the tin they had had from their previous life, one of the only joys she has. It's when Saita is getting the food for Setsuko that he learns that the Japanese have surrendered and that their navy has been decimated, the navy his father was a part of. Saita and Setsuko are truly orphans now, and any hope of a life where they would be cared for is gone. So literally in his, like, last desperate moments, he takes out the minimal last amount of money that they have to trade it for food, and then learns, like, it's over now.
And your dad's probably dead.
And your dad is dead. Like,
whew.
So you've given everything you had, and it's over now. And you have nothing.
Damn.
It's rough. It gets worse.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. It gets way worse.
Don't worry. It gets super
so
worse.
much more depressing. So Saita comes back to Setsuko with the food, but Setsuko is nearly dead. As Saita frantically prepares the food for her, she passes away from malnutrition. Saita cremates her and puts her ashes in the candy tin to carry with him until he dies shortly after in a train station of starvation.
Wow.
The end.
Woo! Real ray of sunshine this episode is, baby.
It's so fucked up. Oh my god,
Wow.
It's so sad. There's, like, kind of a nice moment at the end where, like, so he dies and then this soldier like sees him at the train station and kind of goes through his pockets, finds a picture of his presumably dead dad, finds this tin and then, like, throws the tin out. And it goes out into this field, and, like, Setsuko's ashes spill out onto this field, and then, like, a magical thing happens with the fireflies, and then, like, her soul that is, like, among the lights of the fireflies, like, flies up and finds his soul, and they, like, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's, like, maybe sort of nice, but also not.
But also, you had to watch
yeah.
all that happen.
Yeah.
So
now you're just really,
Damn.
really, really sad. Yeah.
Phoebe was sad, so now all of you
Yeah, now all
get
of
to be
you
sad.
get to experience this horribly, horribly depressing movie. Grave of the Fireflies doesn't show much of the actual war. The scenes of bombings are few, but the true devastation of the film is the fallout from the war. The agonizing deaths from the burns of fire bombings, the starvation of civilians who have been displaced, the effect of the war on children and families. Grave of the Fireflies is a very real look, and... Sorry. God damn it. I kept typing things wrong this time. Grave of the Fireflies is a very real look at the off-the-battlefield devastation of wars, the parts that you maybe don't think about. How food becomes scarce, how cities being bombed forces populations into cities that are not equipped to handle the new citizens. The movie shows the real outcome of wars, none of the grandiose battles or heroic war acts, but simply the effect that constant death, scarcity of resources, and life-altering bombings has on a country's people, regardless of which side you're on.
Yeah.
Finn.
Finn. That's facts. True.
That's war, baby.
Well, after all that, have some ads, baby.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. I don't think there's going to be an ad here, but
take a sec to recoup if you so need.
Break skis. We're going to take a little break skis,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to come back and say some not as depressing things.
Oh, good.
So that's good.
Good. I was wondering how sad yours was. Well, good.
Not nearly that sad.
Well, anyway.
Ads. All right, we're back.
We're talking about Taylor's hair routine.
Yeah, I got some curly hair.
Beautifully curly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It does curl pretty nicely.
It does. Pretty nicely. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm talking about World War II films as well, in a little bit of a different context.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a little reminiscent of our last Art of the Revolution episode. But I'm taking a look at how Hollywood and films were used as World War II propaganda specifically. So it's kind of the same as we did last time, but a little bit different. So
I think it's
deal with it.
Deal with it. I'm all, what did we do last time?
It was propaganda.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, that was Cold War propaganda.
That's true. That's
so
true.
This
It's
is
a little
different.
So the U.S. Office of War had a specific unit dedicated to Hollywood called the Bureau of Motion Pictures.
I hate that.
Which
I really hate that.
set up by the Roosevelt administration to propagandize to Americans about the war.
Yeah.
Between 1942 and 1945, that bureau reviewed 1,652 scripts, revising or discarding anything that made the U.S. military look bad or held some kind of anti-war messaging.
Oh, God.
So all the movies that Phoebe talked about could not have been released here at that time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Fucking... God damn it. America.
It was said by Tanner Mirles, a professor at the Ontario Tech University, that the head of the Office of War at the time, named Elmer Davis, stated this: "The easiest way to inject a propaganda idea into most people's minds is to let it go through the medium of an entertainment picture when they do not realize they are being propagandized."
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty right on target there.
Yeah, I hate it. Sorry to interject, but I was having a conversation. It's your job. I was having a conversation with this guy at the vape shop who's from Iraq, and he was like saying exactly that. Like, just that's how like people in America have come to see Iraq and like the war in Iraq, and especially Osama bin Laden, like, was through American media, through Hollywood.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, and I don't think you realize too that like a lot of your worldview is probably shaped by the media you consume more so than you probably think it is.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, yeah. Just, if you're watching movies and reading things and whatever else you're doing about how we're the best all the time, you're probably going to think that.
Right, exactly. I mean, similar to how you and I, like, we listen to stuff about how we're
not the
very
best.
much the worst.
Exactly.
And I'm like, we are the worst.
Wow, we actually are kind of terrible.
Suck.
The push towards film being used as a way to sell the military and its actions to the American people would have reverberating consequences that still plague us to this very day. However, we'll be doing a separate episode on that soon enough, so stay patient, my children.
Get ready, you thirsty bitches.
You thirsty hoes. I'm not good at talking dirty to the audience, unfortunately.
That's where I come in.
Yeah, you have always been the dirty talk one.
It's because I'm the Dom Daddy.
You are the Dom Daddy of everything
of the world.
Yeah,
really.
of the world, really, but especially of the podcast. This article I was reading pointed out that the power of actually going to the movie theater was big at that time. In the 1940s, there was about 90 million people going to the movie theater every single week, which held the perfect place to begin indoctrinating people into the cult of the U.S. military. Having a shared communal experience of emotions was huge in the societal programming of mindlessly supporting the military.
Totally.
If you're in a group of people that all have kind of the same emotional response to something, I feel like it's much harder to criticize that thing when everyone around you is also supporting it, you know?
Right. No, that's so true.
Yeah, it's something I had never really thought about, but that was like huge, you know, because obviously you couldn't like watch movies at your house.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and especially too, I think if you are younger, you're like looking around, seeing like the emotions that are being elicited. And it's like, oh, this is like sad, or this is like good, or whatever. And so you just kind of match that, or like form your opinion to be that.
Yeah.
Or even if you're, I mean, like you said, even if you're not younger, like you're looking around like, oh, everybody's like reacting this way. I'm also reacting this way.
This is, I'm normal.
It's hard to be like happy in a room full of sad people, or critical in a room full of like people feeling victorious.
Yeah, like doubtlessly fucking supportive people. America was no longer a safe place that was invincible against terrible things that happened elsewhere in the world. With Pearl Harbor being on America's doorstep, it shattered the security that many citizens felt, and to fight this feeling, the U.S. had to make the U.S. military seem as though it was the best in the world, could never do anything wrong, and was like larger than life, kind of.
Right, yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't think that it's like justified by any means, but again, I guess I understand like the thought process behind it, because even though Hawaii wasn't technically a state at the time, I mean, Pearl Harbor was like kind of it's still kind of a big deal. Like it was for first time since the revolution that we've been like attacked on. Yeah. I guess other than like the Civil War, but like yeah, it's kind of like unprecedented, I guess.
It was like the 9/11 of the time.
Yeah, exactly. So
except Bush didn't do it.
Well, I mean, maybe a Bush. You know, Prescott Bush.
You never know.
You never know. Though at first it was there was a little bit of resistance to the military censorship of Hollywood movies. Most of the industry would realize that as patriotism grew, depicting the military in a positive way would also bring huge profits to the industry. As people wanted to see how America was winning at everything. So with the profit motive, Hollywood was all too eager to cooperate with the censorship. So and again, like you can tie it to now too. Like there's not many, movies coming out about how bad the military is.
No, it's true. It's true.
Like I even think of like action movies that aren't necessarily like Transformers.
Right. No, and I mean that's the thing is like, and that's another thing that we definitely will like talk about in future episode is like these movies that are literally not even about the military have the military in this positive light.
Yeah, for sure. And it's always again like the US military. It's not like other militaries around the world or whatever.
Kurdistan or something.
Exactly. Movies during this time never portrayed the realities of America during the Second World War, opting to just show us that as the good guys that are fighting the evil Nazi bad guys. And please don't get me wrong, Nazis are evil bad guys. That is true. But, as with everything, life isn't as black and white as that. There's no talk of like the U.S.-Japanese internment camps or the devastation of dropping the atomic bomb. Or even like really at the time there was no like later on we got movies that are more like historical movies about it, but there was really nothing like that was diving deep into like the reasoning or the effects of the Holocaust or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
And again, I feel like later on like Schindler's List and movies would come out kind of showing those things, but yeah, definitely during the time there was nothing like that was being
it's
put
just
out.
Like pro-American military, we're doing good things, don't worry about anything else. This is all you need to think about.
No, for sure.
We got you, it's all good.
Producers and directors were told specifically by the Roosevelt administration at that time to ask themselves, will this picture help us win the war? Was like the question that they were asked. It was very obvious.
Wow. Which also, I think it's like, think about will a movie help us win the war? Baby.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of wild.
Yeah, for sure.
Just that they were so open and blatant about we're definitely we're propagandizing everybody.
We're using this to brainwash people.
That's how it be. That's how it be, baby. So movie theaters weren't just showing propaganda films either. They were fully saturated in the war effort. Many theaters would sell war bonds and give out free seats to anybody who bought them.
Oh my God.
As well as have bins for scrap metal outside of the theater to collect and donate to the effort.
Wow.
So they were it was like theaters, it was fucking production companies.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were all in on this fucking shit.
Well, and I mean, it's true. Like, when you look at, stories and art and things like that from that time, it is all, support the troops. And
exactly, yeah. And we'll get to that. Again, World War II is kind of a tricky war to cover because I think, largely it was a war that the U.S. did the correct thing in by stopping the Nazis. But, as I stated before, this led to, a long, slippery slope of war propaganda that continues today. So, again, it's one of those things. It's I don't necessarily think that, the war itself was bad, but the propaganda around it probably wasn't good.
Totally.
You know?
Well, and I think there's nuance, too, like what we did to the Japanese people and what we did with just dropping bombs, even, not even just in Japan, but all over, it's Nazis don't need to be doing what they're doing, and we should not let the Nazis bad, and we should not let them do that. But also, everything else that we did along the way was not okay and should not have been portrayed as fully okay.
Oh yeah, for sure, and especially again, we were talking about we kind of bombed a lot of civilians in Japan, and they didn't have any fucking decision making in the war. They were just civilian Japanese people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So on the screen, audiences were shown combat and some of the most gruesome images that were able to be shown at the time. But also, and mainly, the cartoons of the age held a heavy role in convincing the public that supporting the war was sick and cool. Most of the iconic cartoon characters of the time became pro-war efforts, from the Looney Tunes to Disney, comic book characters, and of course, the man who would punch all the bad guys, Popeye the Sailor.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, and even just Popeye the Sailor, eating his spinach and beating up whatever the fuck, I don't know. Yeah.
And it's marketed to children.
Yeah, no, and I think they fully knew what they were doing.
Absolutely.
Marketing to kids and, kids and then teenagers and, and again, we'll get more into it, but just the support and again, and I'm sure, parents watch those things too, especially when they used to play them at movie theaters and stuff. So it's it was, but they definitely were going for the kids.
Yeah.
Where was I? So also in animation, they could depict images and ideas that weren't able to be seen in just straight combat footage. So this is where you come in, it comes in, they could make the Japanese look however they wanted, and they could make them turn into pigs and stuff, which was a thing that they did. And this one, I guess I'm not too as mad about, but they could make Hitler look like, an insane man, or have him turn into a vulture or whatever. And again, if you want to portray Hitler in a dumb way, good, fuck Hitler.
Go for it, but
he has that coming, but when you start to characterize an entire nation with racist political cartoons, it's probably not good,
It's maybe exactly how the Holocaust happened. I don't know.
No, you're... Oh, shit, you're absolutely correct, dude. That's what's funny. the Protocols of the Elders of Zion is just like a giant racist cartoon. Like,
yeah, well, and you can look at like the art that they were making, like political cartoons and shit at the time, and it's very like racist images of Jewish people.
Yeah. So unlike German propaganda that would show mainly pro-Hitler and pro-Nazi films, American propaganda was more subtle, which they perfected the art of, which is probably why it was so effective. Showing people of all ages, children, teenagers, and adults, helping with the war effort, supporting the troops back at home, doubtlessly wormed its way into the mind of Americans. And especially, too, because, like, we had like the draft going on, and I feel like they very much played it like, oh, if you're not doing this, then you're not supporting like these people, like these men that have gone over there and are giving their lives, you know.
Exactly.
Like, it almost like they tied criticism in with like, you want these people to die
exactly
for no reason.
Yes. And I mean, that's how it still is.
That is how it still is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, for sure. You can't say anything critical about the military without being like, well, the service that the service, and it's like, whoa. Like,
you have no idea what it's like, and they're laying down their life for your freedoms. Which it's like, first of all, no.
They're really not, especially not at this point.
Yeah. And second of all, like, just because I criticize what the American military is doing doesn't mean that I want every single soldier, I fucking hate them and they should die in a horrible way. Like, no, I'm saying we shouldn't be doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
As a nation.
No, yeah, and I feel like it really starts here where they're like, yeah. And especially because so many people had family members that like had to go over there. It wasn't even like a choice.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Someone who is super influential in creating a lot of military propaganda films was our old friend John Wayne. Well, we talked about him, I think, a little bit in the last Art of the Revolution episode.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Wayne never actually saw combat, which I think is fucking hilarious for somebody who made so many goddamn movies about it. Like, it's just that like tough guy action movie thing where it's like, okay, you're like in all these action movies, but like you've never been in a fight.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But yeah, some of the movies he did included Operation Pacific, The Sea Chase, Reunion in France, Flying Tigers, Flying Leathernecks, The Longest Day, and many more.
Jeez.
Like, that's just a brief list, and obviously one of them had like almost the same title, The Flying Tigers and The Flying Leathernecks. Like, he was cranking out these World War II movies, baby. Other movies from the same time included, we had one that was called War Comes to America, which was a 1945 film showing why the Axis powers' aggression turned America away from isolationism, which is true. Like, it was, America wasn't involved in the war until later on. And, arguably, understandably in a way, but, again, like, Germany was kind of trying to, like, do imperialism on other nations in Europe, so kind of weird, but yeah. And that one actually was barely released before the war ended in 1945. Another one that was also released in 1945 was a film commissioned by the U.S. War Department that told, or that was called Know Your Enemy, Japan.
Oh God!
And
sorry, I'm interrupting you so much this episode.
Please, Joe.
The fucking War Department should not be able to commission movies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I don't know if I talked about this in the last one, but this is kind of a side note. But like after World War II, the CIA commissioned the Animal Farm be made, and they changed the ending of it. They changed the ending of Animal Farm to be anti-communist, and the CIA commissioned that movie to be made. It's insane. Phoebe's rolling right now.
I wish you all could see my face. Wow. God damn it.
Yeah. And that of course happened after World War II, because at this time we were still pretending to like the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was the Know Your Enemy, Japan, told of Japanese society and culture, and I feel like you gotta assume that it was probably kind of definitely racist. Like,
oh yeah,
like there's probably no way it wasn't,
yeah,
right?
probably kind of definitely.
Like I haven't seen the movie, but I just have that, that feeling.
Yeah,
you know?
that feeling in the pit of your stomach.
Exactly. And then lastly, there's a movie called They Were Expendable, 1945 movie starring Jonathan Wayne. That was actually based off of real events, but was a fictional movie. I don't know, I was looking up a couple of them, and that was one of them. Another one that Jonathan Wayne was in.
Old Jonathan Wayne.
And, and I don't necessarily even, think that, recreating, a battle in World War II is, disrespectful or anything.
Right.
But it kind of feels gross to, take a real battle that happened, recreate it, and then, sell it for money. You
exactly.
know? That feels disrespectful.
Yes. No, it does.
To the people who actually died in it.
Yeah. Again, people were fucking killed.
And you can have, your opinions on the military and whatnot, but it then profiting off of, people's death like that just seems like it would be the thing that a true patriot would be a little upset about.
Yeah.
But maybe, true patriots love that shit, so.
True patriots maybe are not true patriots.
maybe they suck. Maybe they're bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of a brief history of World War II films and how it kind of, honestly, it kind of kickstarted the military entertainment complex.
Completely. Yeah.
Very interesting period of history.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
But yeah, which, like you said, I mean, I feel like it's, if you want to show an accurate battle scene of what happened, reenact in a movie, fine, but yeah, don't aggrandize things and don't profit off of people that fucking lost their lives.
Yeah, and also it's just okay, you're gonna show these battles where America did these heroic things, the D-Day and Normandy and stuff.
Right.
But again, how many movies do we have about the Japanese internment camps?
Exactly.
Or the atomic bomb and the fallout of that?
Mm-hmm.
None that are made in America.
Yep. Exactly.
So,
have your little war movies, but show the nuance.
Yeah, show what actually happened. How about?
Yep.
But they won't, because they don't want us to know. This goes all the way to the top.
It goes all the way to the top. Literally.
It literally does. Yeah, it actually does.
You can't, there's no denying it. They had a fucking department and
Truly.
paid fucking the producers to make Rah America movies.
Yeah, no, they had a whole ass department.
It's so evil.
Yeah, it's not very cool.
Rough time.
Anyway, I think that's all we got.
Beautiful.
And my laptop's gonna die soon.
Oh,
so we need
no.
to
Wrap her up. Well, you guys, if you would like to check out photos tied to this episode, you can go on our Instagram at Remarks Podcast, and also keep your beautiful little eyes peeled for those stickers, because I'm going to be posting them. We get them on Wednesday. Stickowskis. Jeremiah shoved a Living and Livy was stick. So we get them on Wednesday, 2 days from today, and I will post them, and you can purchase them because they are sexy and amazing. You can also check out our TikTok of the same handle at Remarks Podcast. Taylor, go!
So on Twitter, it is at RemarksPod. You can tweet at me, and I will definitely respond. And then also, I have a YouTube channel called The Lefty Agenda. You can also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Please.
And thank you to our patrons. We have Andrew Vass.
We have Emily Doran.
We have Jameson Cherry.
Did it backwards. I'm sorry. We have Justin Vass.
Woo! Justin Vass.
Woo!
Thank you, patrons. We love you all.
Thank you so much. We love you. If y'all want to subscribe to our Patreon, go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
because that would be cool.
We'd appreciate it a lot.
We would appreciate it, and we have some very funny bonus episodes on there. The last one, I was cracking my ass off.
We're kind of hilarious, actually. So,
So anyway, thanks for listening, and
K love you. Bye.